All right, Orange Vista Chemistry students, welcome. I'm Mr. Conklin here, and we're going to give you a quick tour and explanation of the different types of chemistry equipment that we use here in the lab, so that you're familiar with it in case we're ever called back to school. First thing I'm going to start you off with over here is the graduated cylinder. Okay. It's a cylindrical glass tube with graduations and measurements on it. We use this to measure out liquids. Okay. And as you can see on the side here, there are different measurements from 0 to 100. It measures in milliliters the amount of liquid that you can get. Next thing we're going to look at on my little pink list of knowledge here is we are going to look at the scale. Why don't we come over here to the scale, also known as the balance. The scale, ladies and gents, is what we use to weigh out or find the mass of different things. As you can see here, it's set to about 0. So we'll hit the 0 button here, get it to there, and you place whatever object you want to weigh on there, and it gives you the mass in grams. All right. Moving on, let's go to the Bunsen burner next. That's right over here. This is everybody's favorite. The Bunsen burner is a heat source in which we can add energy in the form of heat to things. It's connected to this gas outlet right here. All you have to do is turn the gas outlet on, make adjustments with the gas valve here, and then using the striker, which is the second piece of chemistry equipment, you can light the flame and start adding energy to what you need to add energy to. And again, this thing right here is the Bunsen burner, and this right here is the striker to light the Bunsen burner. Let's come on over here, and next we will look at the beakers. The beaker, ladies and gents, is what we use to transport liquids in. A very important thing about the beaker is that we never use it to measure liquids. Even though there are graduations and measurements on the side here, they are not scientifically accurate. So don't ever use one of these to measure liquid. Just use it to transport liquid. Coming over here, the fashionable goggles, everybody's favorite. We use these to protect our eyes. It's one of our personal protective equipment. You must always have goggles on in the lab. Always, always, always. Up next is the clay triangle. We use this when we want to heat things. The funnel, what we use to control the pouring of liquids. The test tube is what we can use to do small reactions in. The beaker tongs, we use these to hold hot beakers. You grab them like this, and you transport them around. The forceps, you probably use these a lot in biology. We won't be using these much in chemistry, but these are used to grab small granules. The scoopula is what we use to scoop out things and weigh them out onto the scale. Test tubes need to be cleaned every so often, so we have a test tube brush for cleaning. The pipette is another way of measuring out small amounts of liquid. It has a flexible bulb here at the top that can suck liquid up into the inside, and it has graduations along the side here in which you can use to measure. This pipette in particular only measures 1 milliliter. Right here we have the stir rod. Sometimes they're made of plastic, sometimes they're made of glass, depending on what type of stuff you want to do, but it's used for stirring. The spatula is used for picking up things, smushing things, or stirring. It can be used either way. It's a pretty versatile tool. The ring clamp is what we use if we want to do some pretty intense reactions or things that need a very stable surface or stand. The wire gauze, we use this when we want to heat certain things. It will sit on top of the ring stand, and there will be a Bunsen burner underneath to kind of protect the thing that is being heated. The Erlenmeyer flask is another way of transporting liquids around, and it's also good for stirring because you can grab it by the neck and swing it around like this very gently. Again, even though there are graduations and measurements along the side of the Erlenmeyer flask, it is never to be used for measuring because it's not accurate. The test tube holder is what we use to hold test tubes. I'll show you how it works. Squeezing it opens the test tube holder, releasing it closes the test tube holder. Crucible tongs. We use these when we want to hold hot crucibles. We won't be using crucibles in chemistry this year, but you don't ever pick up beakers with this because they slip out. We only use these for crucibles, which is those little ceramic bowls. The thermometer. We use this when we want to take the temperature of things in degrees Celsius, no F word. The utility clamp is what we use to hold test tubes over a flame. You can see the little hands right here squeeze onto the test tube, and this will get inserted onto the ring stand. Coming over here, we just have a few more pieces of equipment to show you. This wooden block here is our test tube rack. It's got pillars as well as indentions and holes to hold test tubes into it. This right here is the pH meter, ladies and gents. We use the pH meter to measure how acidic or basic a solution is. It'll give you a readout right here of numbers 0 to 14, which is the pH scale. Up next we have the heat glove. Now for those of you that know how to cook, you use heat gloves or oven mitts to hold hot objects, okay? Not red hot objects, just regular hot objects. A lab apron. Everybody in chemistry must wear the lab apron. It's used to protect your clothes and your skin from noxious or harmful chemicals. And last, but certainly not least, we have the hot plate. This thing's like a little miniature stove. You turn it on by switching on the red switch on the inside and then changing the dial to the heat setting that you want. And it's used to heat samples or boil water. All right, ladies and gents, that is all we have for the chemistry equipment. Next video, we will be going over the lab safety.